G'day and welcome to my garage.
Well, I've started pulling this mini lathe down, the tailstock's off, and the reason I'm doing that is there's far too much movement in this carriage. I can't use the lead screw for auto feed because it just kicks it up out of the way, and I can't get a constant thread when I'm cutting over a long distance, a constant thread. I can't get a constant thick cut over a long distance. So let's pull this thing apart. I've loosened off some of the stuff already. So as you can see, the cross slide is off. We'll just take the base off. Okay, that's hanging loose. Underneath that are catching on this plate. I'll see if I can drop this lead screw. That's interesting. So there's no gib adjustment on the across the carriage. Just purely relying on the V block, or dovetailed V block, I suppose you would call it, for alignment. So there's I see what happens. So there's three main bolts holding the plates in place, and then there's two gib adjustments. That's unusual. That's a different way of doing it. I wonder if there's there wouldn't be shims in there, otherwise why would you have gib adjusters? So that's interesting. So you've got three main bolts and then two adjusters for these bearing plates. Now I understand what Steve Jordan is talking about in one of his latest videos about the mini lathe and the carriage. So you adjust, you adjust the clearance of this clamp to the bed with these gib style adjusters, and then tighten the clamps down once the clearance is right. Well, wouldn't you bend the plate? I wonder how tight they are. They wouldn't be very tight. That's not the right one. Is that it? No, they're loose. Well, they have to be loose. Well, only nipped up because otherwise it would bend the plate. That's a stupid idea. So that's a brilliant idea. You have three main bolts and then two adjustment screws. And you can't tighten the main bolts down too much, otherwise you bend the plate. It becomes a wavy plate. I wonder how straight they are. bent. They're definitely bent. So that does not impress me. I might put shims in there, do it the same way as I'm doing on the gingery milling machine. Very similar idea. The gingery milling machine would have the 3 main bolts, and then you would shim the clamps down to get the right clearances. So I might do the same thing, because I tell you now, once this thing's on, you won't be able to. You still have to disconnect it off the off this apron, because these adjustment screws are inside the apron, and I noticed that this one doesn't have a nut on it, so it probably it's either, well, it's not long enough to take a nut. It hasn't been broken, it's still got the Allen head in there, so it's not broken. So maybe it doesn't clear something inside the carriage, inside this apron, I'd say. Is that a rough guess? Maybe wrong. I won't get too bothered to go too far into that. But yeah, so and then it can rock. It's a silly idea. Well, the first of the carriage clamps has been drilled and now fitted. It's just some 25 by 5 cold roll. So I gave it an extra 3 millimeters clearance. No, I gave it the clamp an extra 3 millimeters on on this side, so it engages with the underneath of the lays by an extra 3 millimeters, and that's 25 millimeters wide. So that's the total land now is 10 millimeters stick out, and the clamp area itself is 10 millimeters, and leaves 5 millimeters to overhang on the back, which what I'll do. This is go and have a look at Steve Jordan's mini lathe upgrades. This is where I've got the idea from. And then a piece will go, I haven't cut the piece yet, but a piece will go in the back and be bolted into the carriage and at the level of the clamp on the pad without any shims. So this pad effectively becomes 5 millimeters thicker. So yeah, that's what that will be part of the process. Now I will have to create shims, so I'm doing what I've done on the shimming for the gingery mill. I will make a punch and die set. They're pretty simple to make. Alright, we'll catch you later. That's the one for the back. I'm lucky, they're identical, and I have fitted this up, and it just clears the carriage, excuse me, the carriage rack. So so I'll drill these out, and I'll see what happens when I put the lead screw back on with the apron and the gearing inside that, and make sure that I've got
I'm not fouling anything on the back side. I don't think I am, but I'll just make sure that I'm not, and then I'll work out from there whether I fill that back corner in or not. Don't know. That's getting a bit excited, isn't it? First, we'll draw another one of these. So we'll drill an identical one, and I've started on the die, the punch and die. So back to the drill press. See ya. Welcome back. You've caught me in the process of making a shim for the new, come on, what are they? Clamp pads for the Lathe Carriage. I've made these before for the gingery mill. They're overkill, but then I do like to cut a nice shim, especially if it's a good fitting shim, so we'll find that out in a minute. But this is very simple. Again, it's just 2 plates bolted together. This is the die. I've drilled these out to 6.5 millimetres, which is a nice fit for a 1/4 inch pin punch. Why 1/4 inch? I've had it for 40 years and it's in my toolbox and it's never been bashed around, well, not this particular one. And so yeah, it's an imperial 1/4 inch punch. Now 1/4 I think is 6.3 somewhere, and I draw there 6.5, so we know it fits. So that's the die and punch, and let's see how we lined up. Okay, well that's a success. I've got a little bit of rework on the shim size to get it right, so I get the right position. It's pretty good now, but it's still got 1/2 mil into the into the journal, and it can't go in there. So, but it works. So I'll make up some more. All right, I'll catch you later. Well, as you can see, I've got about a millimetre, and 1/1000 of clearance there. Just move that out of the way. So I fitted the first set of shims. That's the Coke can shims. They're 4 thou. I have about 1/10 of clearance on the back here. Bit hard to measure at the moment because the other side is loose. If I tighten the other side up, you know, why didn't he tighten the other side up? Here we go. If I tighten the other side up, just nipped up, not strong armed. And it's also got a Coke can shim, 4/10. That is now locked up. So I can't measure the other side if this side is locked up. So I've released them, and we'll just nip them up to take up any clearances. And I do have that minor amount there, and it's I think it'll end up being about 1/10. But I've now got to shim this other side. Unfortunately, excuse me, unfortunately there's slight differences between the back clamp and the front clamp here. But not to worry, that's all part of the game. So I'll punch out another shim, another 4/10, and see how that goes. Okay, I've now fitted. I've had to come up to 4 Coke can shims, and let's see. I'll just loosen this clamp off. You'll see that this side had about 1/10 clearance, if you remember. And you can see it evenly slides along the total length of the bed. Beautiful, beautiful. So I'll tighten up, and as you can see, there's a couple of thou or so play. But not so much in this side. That's different. Oh no, most of it's gone now. But anyhow, they're tightened up, and you'll see that it slides nicely until it gets to there. So I don't know yet what's going on. I'll have to investigate that. But I will presume that this side isn't the problem, because if I loosen that off, it works the total length. So it's got to be on this side. As I said, it works nice and free down here with minimal movement. Let's see if I can measure that. Good one. Alright, what kind of movement we got? What are we on? 3. Goes about. If I work really hard, I can get 3 thou movement in that. And that's not going to work. And what do we got on this side? What have we got? I haven't even got 1 thou movement there. Must have been
bit of a burr underneath because the new pads are now wider. So looks like there was a bit of a burr underneath the ways on this side.
I've just blackened, put some texture on the ways. That mark there is where it starts to bind, and I've put some texture on to to see where it's contacting or not contacting. I've been cleaning up these ways. I'll keep on doing it. Out you go. That's enough for you. Catch you later.